All right, good morning. Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, the citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. Most of you are too young to realize what took place in the mid-90s under the Clinton administration. Even I myself am appalled about how in tuned I was with what was going on in the world. It started to be a concern of mine because if you're going to be wise in this world, you're going to have to start preparing for the future, not in the future. You need to start doing it now. And of course, you're going to be able to see how intelligent someone is based on choices and decisions that they make in life, and how it's going to affect those that are around them. But I remember following closely probably what I would consider and what I would say to be the worst trade deal that has ever been perpetuated on this country. I mean, I'm thinking seriously, it is the single most ridiculous trade deal I've ever seen in this country. I didn't like it then. Of course, that's my personal opinion. I'm not a mover and shaker in this country, but I will tell you this. When I watch politics, and when I watch the news, and there's a reason why I watch it, I don't watch it so I can be more informed of the corruption that is literally going on, because you're not going to tell me it's raining outside when you're peeing on my leg. And I've always had some form of discernment to be able to see the forest for the trees. You see, I'm not here in this time that I'm living in to make the same mistakes or to repeat the same mistakes of the past like many people have and continue to keep doing. I know that I live in a country that is not owned by the people of this country, but the movers and shakers of this country have dealt with us very wisely. So if you're young, take heed to what I'm getting ready to say. And just maybe you'll be able to preserve yourself and those who you are responsible for. Under Clinton, there was this outsourcing. I call it the illegal outsourcing of America under Clinton's watch, called NAFTA. And of course, then they had GAFTA and CAFTA. All these were free trade deals. And of course, anytime that a politician is trying to sell something to the American public, first of all, number one, they're just politically grandstanding the stage playing in front of the ignorant populace, because the majority of Americans are ignorant as hell. And I hate to use those type of superlatives under this particular context and conditions right now, but it must be said, because a lot of times, unless if you have the ability, and most of us have been so desensitized by chemtrails, fluoride, GMO modified foods, mercury through vaccines and stuff, that we become totally insensitive to the natural order things around us. I mean, there are things that you should literally be upset about that you don't even have the ability to even be upset. Because your mindset is, well, as long as it doesn't affect me, as long as they stay over there and I'm over here and they leave me alone and I leave them alone, everything is fine. But see, that is the heightened sense of ignorance right there, because while you thinking that they're leaving you alone, they're not leaving you alone. When you go to your job and you find out that more taxes has been taken out of your check. I mean, after all, you provide a service by offering your labor up, and you want fair and just balances and weights in return, which we no longer have anyway, and we don't care, because we've been, again, desensitized to what real true reality is, and we don't care. And as a result, we suffer, our generation suffer, and our ignorance is just simply not bliss. I understand that many people out there love to be dumb on purpose, and that's your prerogative. And of course, myself personally, I've done everything that I can in my power to get dumb, stupid, ignorant people away from me, because they're dangerous. They are very dangerous, because the way that mindset works and it operates is only going to gender to the destruction of the tribe, gender to the destruction of the whole. You have to be intelligent to function in this environment, in this world that we're in. But Clinton opened up the gateway. He opened up the door, all but to actually start. And this erosion of American companies and American jobs going overseas, and then they turn around and send us back the stuff that they make, still making money, has totally impoverished this country. You know, I'm under no illusion whatsoever at all. I hear the politics in everything that is going on. And let's just go ahead and tell the truth and shame the devil. Donald Trump, while he is the GOP nominee, and if he beats Hillary Clinton, now understand this. Notice I said if, because Hillary Clinton is part of the establishment. Many of you do not be under any illusion whatsoever at all. He is still going up against a giant. Because whether it be Democrat or Republicans, they're all rats. And it's been business as usual ever since the Bushes got in office. There's no difference between Barack Hussein Obama, George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, and George W. Bush Sr. There's no difference whatsoever at all. If you don't believe me, why are we $19 trillion? That's what they tell us in debt. And by the time Donald Trump, when he wins the presidency, $21 trillion in debt. Now watch this. I'm going to say something many of you are not familiar with. That's not including, I believe personally, to be $220 trillion in debt when you consider unfunded liabilities, Medicaid and Medicare. And we haven't even gotten into the derivatives market. Now, if you want to understand what I just got finished saying, you're going to have to go back in the history of my videos and pay attention to what I'm speaking about on the subject of sound money, because I've done so many videos on silver. I've done so many videos on gold and sound money. And I've even led by example to show you that I'm not here blowing smoke up your hindquarters and stuff trying to see whatever you hear Pastor Dow say, that I do. I'm not a hypocrite. I do it. And I'm preparing not only my house, but those who have the ability to hear. Because the only way you're going to be able to hear me is you have to have the spirit of truth. And if you have the spirit of truth, you're going to find out that I'm not your enemy. You may not like how I say things. You may not like how I deliver the message. But if you go check behind what I'm saying, as strange as the truth may sound, and as painful as it may be, you will come to the conclusion, this man is telling us the truth. He's for us. That's the reason why many people have taken my advice and gotten out of the city. Because you think about it, the city is the last place you want to be caught. You see, right now it's real easy because there's no alleged terrorist attacks, and you notice ever since 9/11, which I still believe was an inside job. I believe it was an inside job then. I believe it's an inside job now. 9/11, ever since that so-called alleged terrorist attack took place, the powers that be who have exercised problem, reaction, and solution, they created the problem. They prompted a reaction. They also got a solution from the people or for the people. And that solution was the erosion of our civil liberties. How free do you feel, America, knowing that you are the most taxed country in the world today and the history of mankind? We are so impoverished. In other words, I said all this to say I'm under no illusion whatsoever at all that Trump can actually fix this thing. Let me go ahead and tell you the university of the painful truth. And I'm going to go ahead and say this. If you're going to fix this country, and if you're going to make America great again, and I'm speaking to everybody, all Americans, because one man simply can't do it. First, we need a total reset. And then we are going to experience a whole hell of a lot of pain. I have been telling us that we are not in an inflationary recession. We are literally in a depression. I know how our mind thinks today. We got this dissonance that takes place. It's called cognitive dissonance. We have this dissonance that takes place. And it's hard for us to be able to grasp that if I've never experienced it, if I've never seen it, then I cannot relate that to my situation, because in my mind, it's not a reality. But the truth is, history has this uncanny ability to be able to repeat itself, and it does it over and over and over and over and over again, regardless of your ignorance, regardless of you ignoring, regardless of your stupidity, regardless of how much you want to stick your fat or skinny proverbial head in the sand. History repeats itself, and the reason why it repeats itself is because there is nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. We are in literal trouble in this world, big time trouble. And we have lived outside and beyond our means. How in the world can the United States of America, being the greatest creditor nation in the history, except when that illegal institution come into being called the Federal Reserve System in 1913, all of a sudden from that point on, we are literally impoverished. Most of you don't know, but do you realize and do you understand that when you say United States of America, you're talking about a corporation and not a country? And do you understand and can you comprehend that this Constitution that we have been trained to believe is literally been trumped by the powers that be economic fiat money system? Because Rothschild said, I don't care who you put these puppet masters up in front of the country to act like that they are leading the people. You give me control of the money and I'll control the country, and damn it, it has happened. And it's still happening. Now we're in hot to China. The middle class is all but decimated. The rich has used this economic depression that we're in as an opportunity to enrich themselves even more, and the rich have become richer and the poor has become poorer. And if it wasn't for welfare in this country, many of you would be sitting beside a creek, defecating in it, washing your clothes in it, and taking a bath in it, in a cardboard box, if it wasn't for the illusion of prosperity that comes based on the word, if you believe it's benevolent, of a bunch of thieves and jackals and robbers printing out of thin air, borrowing from your children, children's grandchildren. That's how bad this situation is. So the truth is, if you're going to fix this country, we are going to experience a depression that will cause the Great Depression to look like Disney World. We're going to experience a lot of pain. That's why you need to know history. You need to know how to position yourself. And of course, you know, if you don't know what sound money is, I know in the Egyptian tombs, I know they found all the pharaoh tombs lined in Federal Reserve notes. I know they did. It wasn't gold. It was all Federal Reserve notes. Sound money is going to be restored because it's already past its little due date. It does it about every 40 years. It resets. We have been hijacked. This country has. And you have to understand, the rich does not have what you would call patriotism on a national level. These people are global. Their allegiance is to the global elite. And the news media, which is not a press for the people, their job is to continually to keep you in the land of make-believe. You know, I can go on and over and over and over again, trying my best to actually speak to us, hoping. And I know, everybody hopes is up again. But I also want to say this. You heard the mudslinging, and I told you it's going to get nasty. Now, these people are more intelligent than we are. The politicians are. Yeah, you may see them get angry and get upset and start throwing mud at each other and stuff. When it's all said and done, listen to me. Politics or campaigning is like a soft form of war. They're not like human beings. They don't get out here and throw rocks at each other. They throw disparaging comments towards each other. It's called war. War is very nasty and it's brutal. But when it's all said and done, they're going to shake each other's hands. That means Donald Trump is going to go and shake Ted Cruz's hands and say, very good war. In other words, good campaign. And Ted Cruz is going to take his medicine and he's going to ride off to his Senate seat enriched by millions of dollars from campaign contributions and under the table deals. I think that's what appeals to the American people, is that they know that Donald Trump is self-funded. And that means, and I'm telling you right now, it is true that the establishment knows that their gig is up. Now, the jury is out. The jury is out because we're going to see what's going to take place. I mean, Obama made a bunch of promises and hasn't delivered on any of them. None whatsoever at all. And I tell you, all black people in America, I saw many of you cutting a fool, crying, all happy because you believed that you got your first black president. How are you? Are you better off today or are you worse off today since Barack Hussein Obama entered the picture? Let me tell you something. These people's allegiance is not to you, the people. There's an agenda going on. That's why I constantly, over and over again, tried to teach you how to prepare your house. And then not only when you prepare your house, you've got to be able to groom and find somebody that is wise in a generation or two behind you. And you have to teach them the way of the world. You have to teach them how to keep what you have built, if you have built anything, for them, so that they can learn how to maintain it, because if not, they're going to give it over. You know, I said when I moved up here in this little small country town, there's farming everywhere. Now, almost all these farms have been broken up. That's because the fathers and the mothers who left a farm back for the children don't want to get out there and do that hard work. No, they want to go to the city and live it up. And all these little farms have been broken up into tracts. And they go and they take the money and they run. And because they have no governor on their soul and they don't have any savings, I'm going to tell you right now, I think it's ridiculous. I think it's totally ridiculous, and you are a fool. A sincere, prating, stupid fool. If you have lived 40 years in this life, 40 years, and you have no savings, none whatsoever at all, that will be able to sustain you for at least 2 years. It'd been better for you to not even been born. And then, see, that's the reason why people get mad at Pastor Dow. That's the reason why people want to attack Pastor Dow. Because I'm going to say the things that's going to cause pain. But my intent is to put a defibrillator on your mind to get you to come out of this dumb stupor that you keep finding yourself in. And hey, only a few people is going to wake up and understand my power, my energy, and the effort that I put forth trying to do my best to stimulate thought. Only the intelligent people get it. And when they get it, we have sweet fellowship. We really, truly do. So I'm not concerned about the ignorant people that loathe me. I'm not concerned about them whatsoever at all. None. But ultimately, decisions that you make is going to affect you, the people that surround you, and the children that are around you. And I hope that some way, somehow, that you have enough intelligence, just like these politicians do, to know that, hey, it was all a game. I promise you, you're not going to see Ted Cruz, you're not going to see Donald Trump take this personally. Even though they made personal slanders, personal attacks and stuff, it's war. War is very brutal and very nasty, except this is a war of words. This is not getting out on a battlefield. Neither one of them don't even have a clue to what a battlefield is. They have been so far from it and would never get to it. But the one thing about Trump is, I would say this about Trump. Trump has restored the manhood to America, providing that he delivers on his promises. But they don't take things personally like the ignorant populace does. Somebody say something about you, what's going on? What they saying? And you can't function. If somebody says something bad about you, take it so personally. Can the Republicans unite under Donald Trump? I don't think so. I really truly don't. I think a good president, if he really truly means business in this, I think a good, vice president. I think a real good selection for vice president would be Jesse Ventura. I really truly do. And I'll throw my bid in and Pastor Joe Fox bid in for Secretary of Defense or Secretary of State. Because I promise you, you get that kind of crew in there, and I will put Alex Jones as press secretary, whether you like him, love him, lump it or not. It's totally irrelevant. You have to understand. Listen to me, people. Listen to me. We are not going to agree on everything in this world. What we do and what we should do is we look for, instead of points of contention, bones of contention, what we should do is look on the points and the areas where we do agree and then try to build from there. But most people, they're so tied up in their feelings and emotions. That's because we've been emasculated and been feminized as a society. We don't know how. We simply just don't know how, do not know how to function and live in this world. We just don't, because everything we do, just like females, we've got to turn around and we've got to put our feelings and emotions in, and then we make judgments on that too. When you really truly don't know anything about people whatsoever at all. It's just a sad thing how we've been so easily manipulated and so easily coerced. Check out my words. Check out what I'm saying, because I'm going to say many things that is literally going to upset you. But I am not the institution that has reared you in these fairy tales. I'm not. I'm not the one that has lied to you all your life. Your mom and your daddy have, when they started you off with this Christmas and Easter. The people you need to be questioning is the people who have been right there in your own home, in your own backyard. That's who you need to start questioning. You need to start checking all these things out. You're going to find out that, hey, I am not the one that told you that a rabbit can lay eggs. You just heard the truth. The truth straight way. Now it's on to Hillary Clinton. So let's see how this is going to play out. Because the truth is, if we would have got a traffic ticket and we refused to pay that fine, would they have not come and locked us up and fined us after death until they got their money? But yet and still, Hillary Clinton got blood on her hands. And Benghazi is just a disaster. The emails is just a disaster. How is it that she can run for president? She's a criminal syndicate. How can she run for president of the Democratic Party? And I still will say this. I don't understand. It's still hard for me to comprehend how black people can be Democrats. I mean, if we were dumb 50, 60 years ago, we're more stupid today than we were then. It's just utterly amazing. You don't even know the history of the Democratic Party. No, you don't know. You don't know. I understand you don't know. It's sad. It's utterly amazing. But hey, you may want to pass this along and maybe listen to what I said. Maybe, just maybe, thought would be stimulated in you. Everybody just simply don't have the spirit of truth. And that's the truth. And that's the truth straightway.